Hey guys, this is Jen. Jen waves to the camera. She is a junior graphic design major here to talk about SVA. How old are you?
I am 20 years old.
20. And why did you pick SVA?
Well, I picked SVA primarily because I felt that the only way I could get a proper art education was to go to a school that focuses purely on art, and I came and visited SVA amongst a bunch of other schools, and this one place, SVA, I really liked the feel, the environment, and it just had a really good gut response, and then also, you know, has a very good reputation and really good history, so that definitely pushed me more into SVA.
And how was your application process like?
Well, I lucked out. I had a lot of help from my parents. There was, you know, of course, the stuff I did, like, writing in the essay and going to portfolio interviews, and that was fairly easy. When it came to more of the financial paperwork and the real business aspects, I have to admit a lot of my parents did most of that for me, and I'm very lucky to have that ability to have my parents help me out with a lot of that stuff. And
So what did your portfolio look like when you were applying to the school?
Oh, it was very, I mean, I think it was pretty good considering where I came from. But basically my portfolio was pretty good. It wasn't the best. I definitely saw better at the interview process, but it was all over the place. Lots of different things in it.
Cool. So, I know you're in graphic design, so talk a little bit about your experiences in graphic design, in the department for graphic design here.
I really like it. There's so many amazing teachers here, and it makes me really sad that I can't take every single one. I mean, we've got amazing designers like James Victori, John Fulbrook, Gail Anderson, and they're all here, and there's even teachers who may not be the most amazing, you know, famous graphic designer, and yet they're great teachers. I mean, I'm kind of sad that I can't take everyone, but I'm really, really enjoying it, and I like it so much.
Any really awful teachers?
Awful teachers, not really, like, I guess it's a preference of taste, not so much that they're bad at teaching, so much as I'm, you know, more into one style than another style. So I haven't actually had, like, a graphic design teacher that I thought was awful. There were maybe one or two teachers that I might have felt that I didn't reciprocate as much from them teaching me because we just have different preferences. But I think that's also kind of a good thing for me to experience that, because I'm not going to always have, like, a client or a job that's going to be exactly the way I think it should be. But so
you think it's all relevant?
I think it depends on the person, and I think it depends on who you are.
We have, like, what, 300 people on staff for just graphic design alone?
Yeah, there's no way to not find someone you agree with. I mean, you have to pretty much be really, like, you
have to be lazy if you don't want to.
Yeah,
because we have that whole drop ad period too.
Yeah,
in the beginning.
There are so many teachers here with so many different points of views and styles and tastes that there's no way you can't find at least one person who agrees with you. And if I have any problems with any teachers, it's definitely not in the graphic design department.
So you want to talk a little bit about living in the dorms, not RA, but just living in the dorms? Yeah.
I've lived in 3 dorms. I've lived in George Washington, Gramercy, and now Ludlow, which is where I actually RA at. But I liked living in all 3 of them for very different reasons. George Washington definitely does not have the most positive reputation all the time. It's very old. It's taken a lot of wear and tear to it, so it's not usually the most popular among especially the younger students, which I guess kind of makes sense. A lot of them are coming from really nice, lush houses with their parents and all that, and it makes sense. But I loved it. It has such a awesome character to it. There's a lot of interesting people in it, both students and regular residents, and I think that's half the fun in it. I am not very picky. If there's walls, ceiling, a bed, and basic utilities, I'm pretty happy with wherever I am, and I try not to be picky.
Space-wise in the George Washington, what do you recommend students, first-year students bringing to the George Washington? Or even the Ludlow, really, because they're essentially the same.
Well, I lived in a double in GW, and I happened to luck out and have a very large double, which is very rare in the GW. But we I mean, I brought basic necessities, bath clothes, you know.
Yeah.
Bed, sheets, pillows, computer. I actually didn't have a computer actually for my first year, but and my roommate brought a TV that she shared. Definitely, especially if you're in like a single, or if you don't happen to luck out and get a large double, you don't want to bring personal furniture. There's not a lot of room to spare, and the furniture they give you is, I think, enough. But I brought all my own utensils and all that stuff to cook up in the solarium, and but the rooms are very small, and so you might want to pack light the first month or two, and if there's a way that you can, if you're from out of state, to get your objects accumulated from back home as you live here, because sometimes you might be able to fit a lot more things than you expect, but other times it's not quite that easy.
Yeah, I know we were both orientation leaders, and there's some students that came with
like 5 bins worth of things that, maybe if you're new res, that's okay, but
yeah, a bin
armchair.
Yeah, a bin, guys, is about, I don't know, I want to say 4 feet wide, and it's about 3 feet deep.
And that's a big one.
Yeah, they're huge, and we've seen people bring in 5, 6 sometimes.
Yeah, I mean.
And you don't need that much.
Like, yeah, the people bring in like their own orange. Like, you're not supposed to bring in personal furniture, but people still try to.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen people who brought in I guess some of them have apartments and then they're moving into the dorm, so they bring everything with them, and it's really hard to move all those things in, and hard to fit them in. I don't know how some of them handle it, because I have a lot of little things in my room, but when you get down to it, there's only probably 1 or 2 huge items. But
so did you like living by yourself the first year, living on your own, apart from your parents? Did you get homesick at all?
I got homesick a lot first year, and I did like living by myself. Not that I didn't enjoy it. It was great to be able to go out, come back, and not have to worry about saying where I'm going or where I'm coming from, or asking if, like, I have to, I didn't have to take anyone else's thoughts or ideas into consideration as much as just purely mainly my own, besides maybe friends. But I was definitely more homesick, and I had a boyfriend who lived like long distance, so that definitely made it a little bit harder, and I went home quite a lot, or he came up, and that definitely helped. I think when he came up, it made me less homesick. Second year, I barely ever called home. I barely went home. I was not very homesick at all.
You became a lot more independent.
Yeah, but then this year, it's like I've somewhat regressed, but it's not in the same sense as it was freshman year.
It's not like the necessity of going home.
Yeah, it's so much as like, I just want that connection.
Right.
Like, I don't really miss so much sleeping at home. I mean, definitely, sometimes I'll think about, oh, I wish I was at home right now eating dinner with my parents, and then I think about it for a couple minutes later, and then I'm like, oh, God, it's so boring, though.
Yeah.
What would I do the rest of the day? So I'm glad to be here, but
especially when you're doing like the all-nighters.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't do that at home because you have your parents go to sleep at what, like 9 o'clock at night, and
10.
Yeah, I know, and we're so used to going to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning.
If anything, I just miss the connection of being able to see my parents whenever, like every day. I'm very lucky too. I mean, my home is about an hour train ride from here, hour drive as well, and I'm really fortunate that I can go home so easily. There are kids here who are from different countries, let alone different states, and it just amazes me how they can handle it, because I don't know if I could. But it's impressive. But I definitely still reminisce about home once in a while, but it's definitely on a different perspective. It's not so much as that I need to be there, it's so much as I just want to be. And I think that's better than nothing. I really like my family connection, and I'd rather it not change.